Here with more. Fox News contributor, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, is with us. All right, let's get your overall take on this. I think you would agree they can't run on their record. You can't run on your record. You got to lie, smear, besmirch, slander even, and then weaponize your Justice Department and throw 91 charges against your opponent. I guess that's all you got, right?
Well, but also, as you point out, they're in a position to simply try to buy votes. Most of the Green Initiative is buying votes. This whole student loan thing is buying votes. The effort they put into rewarding the teachers union is buying votes. When you come down to it, the Democratic Party is a combination of a very, very left-wing ideology and a machine that has to have your money to survive. So I think what they're hoping is that they can get away with breaking the law. You made a point here that really has to be, I think, focused on. The Supreme Court said that what Joe Biden is doing on student loans is unconstitutional. Now, he's the first president I know of who simply ignores the Supreme Court. He wants to give away more of your money. He doesn't care what the court says. In fact, he boasts that he doesn't care what the court says. So you have a routine lawbreaking, and my fear, Sean, is when you get to September and October and none of this is working, you can't imagine what they'll do because they have no limits. They don't believe in the rule of law. They believe in the rule of power. They're proving every day that they think they can get away with things that are crazy and that they don't care what the country thinks. And they still have most of the left-wing propaganda media covering for them and protecting them. It's amazing how many things they get away with because nobody at the New York Times or the Washington Post or the three major networks, none of them will go out and take them on. None of them will tell the truth. So people now know that. People know we have way too many illegal immigrants. People know we have too much crime. People know that when they go to the grocery store, they're not able to buy what they used to. And if the price is the same, the size is smaller. If the size is the same, the price is higher. And I think all these things mean that the average American is going to condemn the Biden administration as bad for their lives and bad for America. And I think it's hard to see, other than just plain breaking the law and finding ways, basically, to make Trump in prison. I mean, we just had an election in Senegal. The winner was a reformer who only got out of jail 10 days before the election. And I thought there was certain parallel here. If the Democrats have their way, Donald Trump will spend all of the fall campaign in jail. It is despicable. It's dangerous. It undermines America. And I think every American should be putting pressure on their House and Senate members of both parties to stand up to this tyrannical president who is violating the law every day.
And does it with regularity. The entire 10 million plus illegal immigrants is a case in point about that. And you're right about using taxpayer money to buy votes. I mean, that's, clearly and defying the U.S. Supreme Court and not enforcing the laws of the land and picking and choosing which laws you will enforce and which you to choose not to. We know their playbook, though. January 6th, but they'll forget the main details of things that we've learned. Donald Trump did not try to commandeer the vehicle. Donald Trump has 4 witnesses in the days leading up to January 6th that he was willing to authorize 10,000 troops. And in writing, the D.C. mayor that had to sign off on it, she said in writing she would not. We know the Capitol Police Chief also was requesting in the days prior National Guard troops. So they'll demagogue January 6th. Then they're going to get to the usual playbook. Republicans are racist, sexist, misogynist. I give the whole list. And then we have the issue of abortion, which I believe hurt Republicans in 2022. And I believe Doug Mastriano was a case in point. And he lost by 16 points. He didn't have exceptions for rape, incest of the mother's life. And that hurt every Republican down ticket. So my question for you is, as the great historian and strategist that you are, what do you tell Republicans? I would argue that they've got to, if they're being lied about on abortion, they better match every Democratic lie with the truth in an ad or however else they are messaging this, or they will risk being positioned by the Democrats. What is your advice?
My advice is to listen to Donald Trump. Trump has laid out a perfectly rational strategy, which, by the way, Judge Ginsburg said back in the early 1990s in a speech that she thought Roe versus Wade was wrong because it took the decision on abortion away from the American people and gave it to a group of lawyers. So in a funny way, he and Ruth Bader Ginsburg are on the same side. Let the American people decide. Different states will have different decisions. And I must say, most of the right to life leaders understand exactly what President Trump's trying to do. He is trying to reach the largest possible number of babies saved. He's trying to create the best possible environment in the current culture and in the current laws. And he's doing it in a way which is extraordinarily pro-life without alienating people with the kind of fear-mongering the Democrats have. I thought what he did, his statement, was exactly right. And I think people ought to read it carefully and think about it. We are a country that has to have this conversation. I personally, and as you know, Calista is very deeply committed to life. I personally would like to have the fewest possible abortions, period. We were very pleased to go to the 50th anniversary of a pregnancy group in Florida that has saved 23,000 lives during the history of the group. I compare that to Kamala Harris going to an abortion clinic where they're killing babies. I think the contrast can't be deeper, and I think Trump is exactly in the right place. And by the way, on most issues, Trump's understanding intuitively of where the American people are is better than any Republican pollster or professional. And I think candidates ought to pay attention, just as I used to do with Ronald Reagan. They ought to pay attention to what President Trump is saying, try to figure out why he's saying it, and see to what degree they can learn by watching, I think, one of the most extraordinary political leaders of my lifetime.
Speaker Gingrich, always great to have you. Thank you, sir.